Hi, Steve Gale here. So today what we're doing is we're having a look at the Pycom Sipy and how we can use Visual Studio Code and the Pymakr plugin to program the Pycom Sipy. So what I've done is I've been following these instructions here for the Pymakr plugin for Visual Studio Code, and the first thing I needed to do was to install Visual Studio Code. So I've installed Visual Studio Code, but then when I tried to use the Pymakr plugin, I realized that I needed to install Node.js. So Node.js is a requirement as well. So having installed Visual Studio Code, I'll run it up. So I'll just go and find it. Visual Studio Code, here we go. Okay, so we're running Visual Studio Code. Now, the way to install the Pymakr plugin is you go to extensions and search for Pymakr, which I did. And when I searched for Pymakr, it brought up the Pymakr extension. And what I did then was I added that extension into Visual Studio Code. Now, having the Pymakr extension in Visual Studio Code gives you the ability to use what's called the Pycom console, which is comes down the bottom here. So if I go back to the Explorer view, what I've got open now is a project. But what I'll do is I'll load a project from a basic project template. Now, and my basic project template is here. The format of the project template has a cert folder which is empty, a lib folder which is empty, a sys folder which is empty, a boot.py, which is the booting Python, the Python code that's run at boot, and the main.py, which is going to contain your Python code, and also a file called pymakr.conf. So what I've done is I've created a test project test1, which has the same format, but it's got a basic program in main.py. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to open that project template. So the way I do that is go open folder and go to project test1, which is the root of my my project folder. Select the folder, and it will bring in my project test1. You can see here I've got cert, lib, sys, boot.py, which is empty. Let's close this. And main.py, which has some basic code in it. But the other thing is pymakr.conf. Now, with pymakr.conf, this needs to be set up so that the Pycom console can communicate with the Pycom Sipy board. Now, my Pycom Sipy board is plugged in USB via USB, and its address is com3. Now, what you need to do initially when you've installed the Pymakr plugin is go into all commands and go into here and list serial ports. And when you list serial ports, you can see here it's found one serial port, COM3, and it copies that to a clipboard. So what you need to do is you need to take that COM3 value and put it into the address of the pymakr.conf. And that becomes the address that the Pymakr plugin uses to communicate with the Pycom Sipy board. Okay, now that address could be an IP address if you're using Wi-Fi, if you've configured your Sipy to connect via Wi-Fi. But in this case, I'm just communicating via the COM port, so it needs to be COM3. Now, when that's all working, you can go into all commands and you can go Pymakr connect, and you can see here that it's connected on COM3 here. I don't know why it's not communicating. I'll just unplug it and I'll replug it, and hopefully all commands connect, and we're connected. I don't know what happened there, but so you can see here, oops, when I'm down here, sorry, when I'm down in this window here. Now this is called the REPL So what this prompt is the Pycom. That's from the Pycom Sipy, and it's running the REPL. Now the REPL, it gives you the ability to manually type in Python commands and have those Python commands executed. So I've got two ways of working with the Sipy. I can manually type in Python commands, or I can run a main.py and I can then sync that using the sync command, sync that to the board. So if I look at my main.py, I'll just go and edit my main.py here. And you can see I've got a very simple program. I import the Pycom library, set the heartbeat to false, and using an RGB LED, I'm just making that RGB LED red is 0, green is fully on. Oops, just switch that around. Red is 0, green is FF, and blue is 0. So that would light the LED green. And I'm also printing out project 1. So what I can do is I can manually type these into the REPL, or I can run main.py. Now, while I'm in main.py, I can go run. And you can see, I don't know, you can't see this, but the light on the Sipy has gone green. So what I need to do now is I'll just make sure that I've got the, I'll just stop that, and I've got the REPL prompt back again, and I'll just turn that off. So the way I turn that off is go pycom.rgb LED 0x000000. So red 0, green 0, and blue 0, and execute that. And I can execute that in the REPL, and that LED's gone off. Now the reason I can just say Pycom dot is because I've already run this main program, and I've already imported the Pycom library. So Pycom dot RGB LED can be used in the REPL. If I hadn't run this code first up here, if I hadn't run this code first up here, I would have had to have typed import Pycom before I said Pycom.rgb LED. Okay, so that's now, if I want to run a new project, then I can just go File, Open Folder, Project Test 2, select folder. I'll save all the files. Brings in the new project. You can see main.py just has print project test 2. Okay, this time I'm going to run a sync. Now what a sync does, it'll synchronize all of these libraries rather than just running the main.py or the current folder, the current Python file. It will synchronize all of these libraries to the Pycom Sipy, and it'll run boot.py and main.py. So I'll just hit sync, and you can see it's syncing the project, reading the file status, writing the file main.py, and it's run it, and you can see it's run it there. Notice that project test 2 was printed out, because all this program does, the main is print project test 2, and project test 2 was set out here. Now this is finished now, so basically what I've got now is I've got the REPL prompt. So if I wanted to say import, like my previous one, so import Pycom and set the RGB LED and so forth, I could do that from the REPL. So that in essence is just a quick demonstration of how to use Visual Studio Code with the Pymakr plugin to communicate with the Pycom Sipy board on the serial port. Thank you.